Now, the situation in Kenya seems not to be very pleasant after protesters yesterday went on the streets and were protesting about two things majorly. One is that they want the deputy IG, Langat, to resign and arrested and at least presented before court for the justice of the late Albert Ojwang. Number two is, like I mentioned the name, they are seeking justice for Albert Ojwang, a young man who was arrested on Friday, and by Sunday morning, he was pronounced dead. And he was in the hands of police. And being in the hands of police and dying in the prison cells made police a crime scene. And this is something that has angered the Gen Zs, because this was a young man who just made a comment about something, about what police receives every year. He mentioned about 57 billion shillings, Kenyan shillings. And that post led to his death. Some people would say he tweeted to his death, or he posted to his death, or he made a comment right to his death. But again, yesterday, as the protesters were on the street for Albert, guess what happened? Another young man who was just trying to sell masks to the protesters who were being fired to tear gas was shot at a very close range, as you can see in the video here. At a very close range. A guy who was doing nothing but just standing, giving way to the police to pass and go do their business or chase more protesters, whatever they were going to do with the protesters. He stood firm in one place. And these guys, two of them, come, beat him up, and one opens fire on his head. I keep thinking that Ruto's regime moves from one scandal to another, right from the financial bill. Then we went to the airport. And then it got into more protests of the Gen Zs that he must resign, which happened almost every Tuesday and Thursday. It was a running battle. And then we went to Gachagua resigning, impeached from office. So it always looks like we are from one to another. And just recently, I was watching a documentary that was showing that the ammunition for Kenya is being used in Sudan. So every time I see newspaper headlines like these that you see on your screen, it's about the performance of the government and the abuses of human rights of people. And today I'm not bringing a story. I'm just telling you what happened in Kenya yesterday. So as already there are protests that are being planned for next week, 25th June, there is a boy, as I speak now, he may not be alive, but as of yesterday night, the doctors were working with him, planning to operate him and put him on an ICU bed, were saying he's still alive, but he was shot on close range. Not even from a distance that a stray bullet or no. This police officer just opened a bullet, and to show that he was not even remorseful, he didn't even bother to find out the condition of the person that he shot. He just walked away. Because at some moment I thought maybe he had a cocked gun, and as he tried to threaten him, by accident he pulled the trigger. I would have wanted to think so. But the actions after the opening fire to this young man's head, he just walked away. It's disturbing. And it goes further to disturb that when I go back to the case of Albert Ojwang, for one I've been trying to follow here and there, and some friends from Kenya who have been sending me this information on my WhatsApp number that is also on your screen there. There is a police constable who came out and talked about, he actually made a confession. I would call it a confession, and said he was given it would be about $15, $30 or $15 to pay inmates to beat up Albert Ojwang. So this guy was beat up in cells because some people were paid to actually torture him to death, and that they were working on instructions of someone that we all suspect is. So I was just trying to understand, how does Ruto's government walk from one scandal to another? Every single week, There must be something you're reading that doesn't make sense. Just the other week, an activist was arrested because, well, she put up a portal for people to sign up to reject this financial bill. The budget 2025-2026. She was in prison. How do we always move like this? Like, did you ever wonder? I mean, for people who are not Kenyans like myself and others who are all over the continent, how does his government move from one scandal to another, from one to another? But you see, protests are also very interesting, and sometimes I can understand why police can be brutal, but not authorized to kill. They can disperse people, but not authorized to kill. I mean, there are some guys who just went and lit up cars. Others robbed supermarkets. Others, uprooting and destroying public dustbins. And that for me ceases to be a peaceful protest. Now you might argue and say, oh, they are goons. I saw them. I saw pictures. I saw videos, like the way you see them. These guys are moving with sticks and trying to disperse people and beating them, protesters. That's what makes it violent. I mean, why would you deploy non-uniform people to go and inflict pain on others because of a protest? And now this is going to, it may arise into another protest on the streets. Tell me what you think about the protests in Kenya. My name is Darren Bartlett, and my number is right on the screen. You can give me updates, and I will come here and present them as your news. So today is not a news story. It's just a concern as a citizen of Africa.